Another team is out of the playoffs, which possibly puts another Guardians managerial candidate into the pool. We'll talk about Craig Counsell's candidacy and if he's a fit for Cleveland, if he even makes it to Cleveland. Some of you were fired up about our offseason priorities list ranking yesterday, with maybe rightfully so. We'll discuss some of your thoughts there and some interesting thoughts on Kyle Manzardo's adjustments when he got to Columbus.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show today. Over there is Justin. I am Jeff. Craig Counsell. I could walk to Craig Counsell Little League Park from my house. I used to drive past it every day. Do we think he's going to be manager
of a team next year? Yes, he will be a manager of a Major League Baseball team next year. That's my take. Thanks for coming to the show, everybody. That's my hot take for the day. We'll talk to you next week. Cue the music.
I think most everyone expects him to go to the Mets. It is interesting how hot his name is for a guy whose team has lost 4 straight first rounds and seems to make 0, even though they have 2 aces. I know one of them was hurt this year, but they've been, living in Milwaukee, this has been a bitter disappointment for these fans for a lot of years here, that they keep getting in. Now what, they didn't make it last year, right? Or no, I think they were a wild card.
They did not make it last year.
Last year was the one year they did not make it. But the other 4 years that he has made it, they haven't gone anywhere. And they've had solid teams, Shout out to our boy Carlos Santana, who actually had one of the better performances yesterday for the Brewers. And I was rooting for them just because of how much I love Los. But it's interesting to me just how much talk. And listen, his son is starting this year at I think I talked about this before, at University of Michigan. There's kids are out of the house. If he wants to go to New York, he can go to New York. But it's not like this is a resume of success. It's a resume of regular season success. Should he maybe go manage the Twins? I know they finally advanced, but it feels like a match made in baseball heaven before that.
Maybe. Let's start off first of all. Regardless of, so Craig Counsell is a managerial free agent. He did not negotiate an extension with the Brewers. I was reading today, I think on The Athletic, talking about he wanted to focus on the season, and usually managers don't like to be lame duck, going in without a contract. If you ever watch Moneyball, of course, it was who played the manager in those past.
Was that why am I blanking his name? He was in Boogie Nights and somebody. I'll have it. Give me a second.
He was in Hunger Games. I don't know. I can't think of that off the top of my head, but great actor. He's since passed away. I know.
Fantastic actor.
But okay, so no manager likes to be a lame duck manager, but he agreed. Counsell, whoever he's talking to, I don't know if this is just his own strategy or whatever, but he mentioned about just wanting to focus season.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, yes. Rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm sure somebody was, for that 30 seconds, was agonizing over the ability for us to say who it was. But he doesn't, he said he was focused on the season over there. So it's a very interesting situation that I don't want to say, I don't know for sure if he took himself out of an extension for Milwaukee, but it sure sounds like he was not super concerned with an extension talk. And is that because he knew that, everybody in baseball knew David Stearns was going to the Mets. It was a terribly kept secret, and the timing lined up with Counsell's his contract ending. So all that aside, whatever his situation is, whatever else is going on in a vacuum, let's just say Craig Counsell is a manager who is available to talk to, and he is now technically as of yesterday. Should he be on the Guardians list? Is he on the Guardians list? Do you think he should be on the Guardians list to start with? Because I would say yes. I think I know we'll talk about his track record a little bit more in a second, but if he is interested in an interview, I think the Guardians definitely should talk to him. And I would not be surprised if he is on their list. Whether or not he agrees to interview here because it's a foregone conclusion he's going to the Mets, whatever. That remains to be seen. I'm not sure what'll happen there, but in a vacuum, I would say yes, Cleveland should have Craig Counsell on their list.
Yeah, he should be on the list. I just don't think there's any chance of landing him. And again, if it gets into kind of a bidding war, if you're involved with the Mets, it feels like that could get expensive. And I don't think he's the guy you go into a bidding war with anyways. But yeah.
Is he the best managerial candidate? Okay, let's just say, quote unquote, he's available. Like, he is available. Are you swiping right no matter what? Even if he's unattainable, are you swiping right no matter what? Like, is there a better candidate right now on the market?
I'd really have to dive into it. This is me living in Milwaukee and hearing like the last year and a half, people kind of being like, this guy can't win. This guy makes some questionable decisions. I mean, most of my friends out here are kind of celebrating that he's gone, that they are assured that he's gone. They think that he just couldn't get over the hump. So that kind of, colors my view. So for me, I might be just more negative on him than most, but living out in Milwaukee, sure, there are those who don't want him to go, but there's a lot who are just like, yeah, this didn't work. He doesn't work. And how much is that fair? It's really hard to win these opening rounds. We've talked about it. There's a degree of luck, but
and they were the home team, which is weird.
They were the home team, and Arizona was not set up well for this series. They didn't even pitch their second best starter. They started off with not a terrible starter, but they started off with a young player who has struggled all year, who pitched terribly, and they still lost. Yeah. There's work to be done there.
You know why? Because home runs matter, and guess who hit home runs? The Arizona Diamondbacks. They had home runs. I mean, it helps to have Corbin Carroll. Yeah, he had a fantastic series. No shock. And it's kind of funny. I think in these 2-game series, if you have a player like that, you don't often, like, this is off topic, but like in basketball, like when you have a LeBron James or whoever, because you only start 5 players, that impact player has the ability to impact more of the game because of how the game's set up. And in baseball, there's a reason why Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani didn't ever play in the playoffs, because they're 2 players on a team of 26 people, and it takes a whole roster to get to the postseason. But in a 2-game series in the postseason, one player can have enough of an impact to do something. And that guy, that's a guy, Corbin Carroll, right? Like, that's the one spot where that actually works. Be interested to see if the Guardians have a player like that. I don't know if they do. I think they definitely should have Craig. I said they should have Craig Counsell on their list to interview. Look, I don't think anybody thought in 2012 when they fired Manny Acta that Tito was going to be a candidate here. He chose to come here. I think there's a very scenario where Sandy Alomar ends up getting the job and Tito manages in a bigger market or something. And it just, the reason Tito ended up managing here is because he spent that 1 year in between Philadelphia and doing other stuff, working for the front office, and he happened to like the culture here. So Tito might have been unattainable, and Craig Counsell is too. And you make a good point. Yeah. If David Stearns tells Steve Cohen that, hey, Craig Counsell is my guy, this is who I want to hire. Yeah. Steve Cohen's thrown the checkbook right at Craig Counsell and said, here, write whatever you want. You're coming to New York. And that's going to happen. But I would still put him on a list interview, despite I know the results in Milwaukee have been a little disappointing, and it's kind of a mixed bag in terms of how fans feel about that. But I would still put him on my list.
The one other thing, did I lose what I was going to say there? When you're talking, the thing I do wonder if Tito, it's like, I kind of wonder if this opportunity didn't arise in Cleveland, if he would have just settled into a media role, and like that money would have been so good that maybe, and he would have had fun with it, that he might have
just do that for a year.
He did for a year. And I wonder if that could have been one of those things he would have settled into. But instead we got lucky, and there's definitely points at times where one could argue he was the most marquee attraction in Cleveland sports after, LeBron left and things like that. So it's, again, just appreciating him while he's here, and we'll have to see what48 now. I'm very curious to see. I assume we'll be hearing more and more names from this 48 player list.
Well, I think they've whittled it down since a little bit. But
no, I'm hoping they interview all 48.
I agree. I'd do it. Why not?
I'm hoping that one of us is on there. I feel like at 48, there's a chance. I'm kidding.
So
People, please know that. People, please know that I am kidding.
I'm sure there are certain people who claim to listen to the podcast who think their name should be on the list. On your point on Tito, too, again, not many managers get to go out on their own terms and get a chanting from the crowd on their last game. Like, managers often are fired and they're out. They're gone. Like, look what happened to him in Boston, right? That's why you said, like you were saying, like, he was the main attraction here at some points, because in a lot of cities and a lot of sports, managers don't get to go out the way Tito did here. And I like to think he brought some credibility to a franchise that way. I mean, hopefully they've improved their processes since he's been here, because things certainly were better here when he was here than they were previously. So I would like to think that him being here has lent a little more credibility to choosing Cleveland as a destination in baseball to work despite not spending money. And there's a reason front office people keep getting plucked other places. So
100%. Well, should we take break number 1 here and
we discuss some of Craig Counsell's resume, and before we move on, let's do that.
Okay. It's football season, so that means pizza, wings, and maybe even some buffalo chicken dip. Whatever you prefer at your tailgate, go all out and get cash back on every purchase with Ibotta. The weather is getting cooler, and that means it's time to stock your closet with winter clothes. With Ibotta, you can get cash back on winter coats, hats, gloves, scarves, and more for the whole family. Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so you can make sure you're beating inflation. Oops, sorry. My eyes are getting bad. No matter what you're purchasing, either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy. The average Ibotta user earns $100 per year. That could go to cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, or you could use that cash back to buy that flight you've been eyeing, or that game you're dying to go to, or that fancy dinner you've been craving. Download the Ibotta app now and use the code MLB to start earning real cash. Just go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibotta app and use the code MLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play Store or App Store and use the code MLB.
No baseball on Friday. This was a mistake by Major League Baseball on their scheduling. So you have to go 2 days without baseball. But Saturday, if you're watching college football and you want to tune into one of the playoff games on Saturday, listen on your Sirius XM app for whatever team you're looking for. So, Craig Counsell's teams in Milwaukee since he's been there. He was there for 2 years. They didn't make the playoffs in 16 or 17. They turned things around in 17. They won one playoff series essentially his whole time there. They won their first round matchup in 2018. They made it to the world. They made it to the NLCS against the Brewers, or the Dodgers, I should say. They lost in 7 games. So they got as far as you can get without getting to the World Series. And then they failed to win a playoff game. I'm sorry, they won one playoff game since then. So the funny thing is, that's not entirely dissimilar to Cleveland. Like in 2016, they went to the World Series up 3-1, and then 2017 they went up 2-0 and then fell apart, and then until 2022 they didn't win a playoff game. So it's not entirely dissimilar. Cleveland happened to win their wild card series last year.
Like the light version of Cleveland, right? Like, how often do we use he is this player light? He is that. Like, Cleveland made it to Game 7 of the World Series. They made it to the World Series. That's a huge deal. Getting there is huge. And then actually having a win last year. Like, and this is just my little rant, because I feel like I get annoyed when people discount what happened last year. They still won a series last year. Like, you can't take that away just because this year didn't go well. And you're not doing that. But that's just a little rant on something I see happening to people.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Cleveland situation isn't going to be as good as the Mets. So the funny thing is, Cleveland's probably got a better chance to make the playoffs next year than the Mets, because I don't think the Mets have any pitching to go fall back on. Like, I feel like the Mets probably, unless they
got
okay, they have a pitcher to fall back on. You're taking Kodai Senga over the big three. You're taking Jose Quintana and David Peterson, and
yes, I am 100% all the time, guaranteed.
And
inside information.
the Mets are going to be dealing with Pete Alonso drama this offseason because he hired Scott Boras and he's got one left in his deal.
That's exactly the same thing Brandon Nimmo did, and it worked out. I don't know if it's drama when you can afford to pay him, but I mean, like you said, that pitching staff is 100% a dumpster fire. So it's
going to be a couple years before the Mets get back. So Cleveland might be in a better spot to win next year. Obviously, long term, the Mets are set up,
and they don't have pitching prospects. So
Blade Tidwell,
they do.
Blade Tidwell.
Someone I met. Tidwell. Oh, I mean, I'm not that high on him comparatively to everything else. He's pretty low. Like, okay, so he's like a back end starter, likely. Like, I mean, they have Singai and then they have filler. So this is one of those things where, again,
well, are they going to buy pitching? I guess is the question. Either way,
I buy or just I'll just keep this open that they have a lot of interesting hitting prospects, and maybe there is still a world where Cleveland figures a deal.
Can figure that, yeah. I mean, we don't even know if Craig Counsell wants to manage in New York. It's a big different monster in New York. First, Cleveland and Milwaukee are very similar markets, similar types. I mean, maybe if he is not going to go back to, if Milwaukee is not going to bring him back, Cleveland's not a dissimilar market. And I don't know. I'm just saying. If it's about the money, then he goes to New York. If it's not, I guess we'll see. Like,
I still don't think so. Because here's the big thing. Here's the thing we haven't discussed at all. We're adults. Most of our listeners are adults. We've all been in situations with good bosses and we've been in situations with crap bosses. And I think everyone knows how important it is to be in a collaborative relationship with a boss that supports you, has your back, and you work well with. And that can matter more than money because it makes your life easier. Going to New York will make his life harder, but getting a lot of money and working with someone he trusts, I think to me, at the end of the day, that's maybe even more than money. I mean, he played. It's not to say, he made big money in his career, but he made enough to be fine for the rest of his life. And then he made a good amount as a manager. And I don't know if he vested his 10 years. I could go look that up, but I feel like he might have. So money is a bonus. I mean, we all want more, let's be honest. But I think that relationship is what will motivate and pull because listen, having a good work environment matters almost as much as your pay. I think everyone out there I have a great environment now, but my previous district, it was like the worst experience I ever had, and it made me nearly quit teaching. So when you go into that environment that makes you want to quit to one where you feel like collaborative, it's huge.
Kind of like this podcast.
Yes.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for if I had someone who wasn't like the nice thing is like you and I, we split this. Like people here's some behind the scenes. It's like I sit and work on audio, Justin works on video, and we sit and we do that off air discussion. We say something happens off air, but we probably spend like 3 hours a night talking before setup, after. So if we didn't get along, this would be hell. It would
3 hours.
It wouldn't have been a year.
Work. No. Yeah.
Or even on this network in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Because the money is the money. No, I agree. I mean, it would take me a lot of money to go work in New York personally, just because it's New York. And out of college
for a while.
Out of college, I would have loved that. But now I'd be like, you got to pay me a lot of money to go to a place like that. And I'm sure Craig Counsell would say, like you said, having a good boss matters. If he likes David Stearns, that makes a big difference. And it would just take a lot of money though to deal with the crap that comes along with working in New York, no matter what the job is, especially a job like this. That's very high profile and public, but the working environment in Cleveland is good too. We'll see what happens, but yeah, the David Stearns connection is extremely strong. Some of you yesterday took some, I don't want to say issue, but brought up some interesting points based off of our discussion of our Guardians offseason priorities list. And some of you didn't like some of the things, and some of you were wondering where certain things were. So we can get into that in just a moment. Before we get into that, the bye week is coming in the NFL, but there are still a lot of games to watch over the weekend. So snap into the NFL action this season and this weekend with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place only a $5 bet. So that's $200 in bonus bets. Win or lose on those bets, you're still getting that money even if you lose that $5 bet. And I lose a lot, so don't listen to my bets. If you've ever been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. Even though the Browns are off this Sunday, the app is easy to use, so you could bet on a number of things, watching other games to make it more interesting, like spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. Kick off the NFL season and that bye week. Find yourself some action on the bye week. Visit FanDuel.com, official partner of the NFL. And then Saturday, make sure you've got your SiriusXM app on your phone or tablet, whatever, and listen to some playoff baseball. Phillies and Braves should be a lot of fun. I'll be watching that, but if for some reason I'm doing something else, I will be pulling that game with my radio because I'm very interested in that series. I think it's going to be quite a bit of fun. Jeff, one commenter asked us why a Josh Naylor extension was not on either of our priority lists for the Guardians this offseason. We had this discussion throughout the year because Josh Naylor had a good season. He missed a month of the season, and we spent time talking about why an extension for Josh Naylor could be tricky and difficult. I said I am not against extending Josh Naylor in a vacuum, but this doesn't happen in a vacuum, and there's a reason why it's difficult outside of the vacuum to extend Josh Naylor in a way that works for both parties.
Yeah, I believe this was your quote.
Josh Naylor at host is bad.
Right? That was your quote.
That sounds like AI to me. I think you just invented that. Good use of ChatGPT there.
Here's the thing. His health is a big issue. He is entering arbitration, so he may not want to sign. He's getting closer to getting a bigger payday. And there's a big deal for him hitting free agency at, I believe, age 30, as opposed to like another, gig. So it's just a weird fit. They don't often extend corner infielders, specifically first baseman. So it's and he's probably more of a DH than even a first baseman going forward, just because his body doesn't hold up. So I don't think it's going to be high on the prior. I would, let's put it this way. I think that Bo Naylor is a better candidate than Josh Naylor for an extension.
That's a good point. I agree. I think Josh Naylor has played 122 and 121 games the last two seasons total each. That's his two highest totals of his career at this point. Now, some of that is because previously he couldn't break in because he was having, a hard time hitting the ball in the air and just being productive and finding a home. Of course, he was battling, the irreverent Eric Hosmer in San Diego. It's very hard to displace a legend like Eric Hosmer, of course, as we all know. But yeah, there is the conditioning issue for Naylor, which, like it or not, again, I'm not taking anything away. Neither of us are taking anything away from Josh Naylor's season. He had a fantastic season this year, despite the fact that he missed a month. He is extremely important to this team right now. But, the fact that he has now missed 40 games the last two seasons, don't forget the horrific leg injury in 2021 that he's thankfully recovered from and looks way better ever since, amazingly, at the plate.
And I talked about in that show, talking to my wife, who's an anthropologist and measures bones and injuries and that. Like, that is an injury we talked about even then that could have long-lasting effects.
At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Like you said, he's 26. He's got 2024, 2025 left on his club control. He's going to want to hit free agency at a good age to cash in where he can. And that would force the Guardians to make an offer to extend him into his mid-30s. Like, you're talking like a 6-year offer probably from the Guardians in order to get him interested. And I think that's a place where the Guardians probably don't want to go because, hey, you got Kyle Manzardo coming. B, Naylor does have an injury history, and he's a DH, and he does have some conditioning issues. All those things factor in, and it's going to cost more money than it's probably worth to extend a guy like Naylor. So that's why he's not on our list, because I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to be interested in the terms Cleveland would be comfortable with, and I don't believe Cleveland would be. Yeah, it's a mutual uncomfortableness with each other, what each other would want in an extension. So again, that's why I said in a vacuum, I'm not against the Josh Naylor extension. I like the guy. He's fun. He's a huge part of this team right now. You can see what happened when he was out in August to Jose and the offense. But the reason he wasn't on our list is because we just don't really believe it's in the best interest of either side to either. Josh Naylor should not take a deal that Cleveland would be fine with, and Cleveland probably shouldn't offer a deal that Josh Naylor would take because it would not be beneficial to either side. It stinks that it works out like that. Maybe we end up being wrong. Maybe they do something, but that's just kind of how we feel about it.
You know, we often talk about development is not linear, and he was a player who had a hard time in his development. He had a lot of ups and downs, and unfortunately, that ate a lot of those years of control, and that's what just happened. And as we know,
Josh Naylor host is bad. Oh man, you were really getting good at this AI thing.
I know it's perfect. You can't even tell that like I did an edit there. It's so good. It's my new job. I'm the best at it. It's clear.
Quick AFL update, because I know you want to talk about Kyle Manzardo. So before we get into that, let me just go out and throw it out there. Chase DeLauder, as we're talking, he's got the night off in the AFL on October 5th, but he has done pretty well through 3 games. He's got a homer, 7 ribbies. He's hit the ball pretty hard. It sounds like there's some good video out there on Twitter. Manzardo is playing tonight. He's got a walk, I believe. He's not hit the ball all that well so far. He's got a couple of hits. And then Ryan Webb is starting the game on October 5th. He went 2 innings, struck out 5, struck out the side in the first inning, and he ended up allowing 3 walks and 2 runs in the second inning. So mixed results there. But so far, so good for DeLauder. Not too bad so far from Manzardo. Could be better, but you found some interesting stats and adjustments from Kyle Manzardo that I thought were pretty good pickup.
So I'm doing the write up over Prospects Live. It's if you want write ups, Justin and I think are covering like 60 or 80% of the write ups. So I took over Manzardo, and I talked about some of his improvements, but I thought I'm going to pull up the exact data. But it's interesting because when he was in Durham, they have the Blue Monster in left field. So when he was there, he was aiming for that because that's the short porch out in left. And he was pulling the ball over 50% of the time. So he was just 100% kind of taking his power stroke and trying to hit the ball to where it's the shortest. So like his opposite or his pull was, again, it was at 51.5%. That's a lot. Comes to Columbus, the shortest porch is over in right field. Left field is also short. But so what happens? Instead of pulling 51.5, he's now at 37.9, and his opposite field hit percentage goes up 10%. So he is just like, okay, new home park, study, intelligent. This is the way to go about it. He's just, and the fact there aren't a lot of guys in general who can make a change like that. And I assume when it's that dramatic, when you see a 14% drop and a 14% shift, that is intentional. Like, I don't think that happens by accident. Yes, it was one could argue it's in Cleveland. It was a limited sample, that it was just the 21 games, 92 plate appearances. That is on the very fringe of being something that is, statistically valuable, but it's just interesting to see that happen. I might be making much ado about nothing, but for him, when he got there, he just 123 weighted runs created plus, those 6 home runs down the stretch. I think he should start the year with this team 100%. But I thought that and that's the thing. He's a cerebral hitter. He was given a challenge this year to hit for more power, and the exit velocity picked up, the 90th percentile outcomes picked up. I think I know I gave him a 55 grade for his power. I think that is fair, but the hit tool is where I think he should be an on-base machine, and he should be fun, and definitely looking forward to, and that's going to be one of the things. Like a lot of people I saw in the comments too also commented about, like, we need to add multiple bats. Well, one of them could be Manzardo, and if DeLauder can stay healthy, I mean, potentially by next August, could he be kind of like we've seen a few players come up late and get that opportunity? Yeah, Will Brennan kind of 2 years ago stepped into a postseason role with that late season call up. Get DeLauder going in Double A. Hopefully, he got beaned yesterday, right? So we're hoping that wasn't he the one?
He played 3 games in a row to start the AFL. So
okay,
we're going to give him a little rest.
Yeah, but I think there are some fun young pieces. For as much as there is the doom and gloom, and I still say go out and trade for proven guys because they need a little bit more proven. But yeah, you have to appreciate some of the positive additions, and the Savali trade I think is going to just can pay dividends for a long time.
Aaron Savali made a grand total of 0 starts in the postseason for the Rays this year. Not his fault, obviously, and they've got more control over him too left, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, they didn't win the division, so we will see. I agree. Manzardo's ability to, if those are adjustments that he made on purpose, that's exciting because that shows you a hitter who is capable of doing damage in multiple ways. 55 power would be great for him. You're talking 25, 30 home runs with 55 grade power. The good thing I'll say about Manzardo is he has no issue getting the ball in the air. Like, he gets fly balls. That's what you want from a guy who, the home runs he was hitting in Columbus, like, I know we talk about how Columbus is a man box and is very hitter friendly, so you have to be careful about stats there. But that's nice. That's why it's nice to have batted ball data. His batted ball data was very promising in Columbus. So you have a guy who he's not an exit velocity darling, but he gets the ball in the air, and
his exit velocities though were trending in the right direction. I think they were looking good. It was definitely a poke.
The fact that he just gets the ball in the air is good. So it's a guy who, no matter what his power potential is, I think he's gonna maximize it because he gets the ball in the air. It's not dissimilar to the way Jose broke out. Not a high exit velocity power guy, but because he knows how to pull the ball with authority, he gets to more power than he probably should. I'm not saying he's going to be Jose, but nobody thought Jose was going to have 30 home runs either. So you just never know. So yeah, Manzardo, I'm on board. Day 1 next season on the roster. You hope he's an answer to your power problems. And there's room to go out and get one outfielder. We'll talk about that maybe next week, along with your 2 early mock we didn't have time for today. Yeah,
no, 100%. We are going to go through every team, and you'll get that in depth as we go through the season. So make sure you're tuned in. Like I said, we'll save the mock just so we have a little more time in the future. But we want to thank you all for joining us. Make sure you rate and review, download daily. It helps. We love seeing all the discussion out there with the show. And go Guardians, go.